Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the next update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows. This is one of my favorite projects to update because I just love eyeshadows. That's the main reason. I love using eyeshadows, I love hitting pan eyeshadows, and I love this project. I love still watching it and doing it myself. Even though it's been around for quite a few years. So this project was created by Alexi, as you all probably know. She doesn't post anymore, she hasn't posted for a couple of years, but I will still have her channel link down below if you want to binge her old videos. So I'm assuming you guys aren't new, but let's briefly go over the rules either way. So I am working on 4 eyeshadows at any point in time, and of course the goal is to hit pan on them, as the name suggests, but you can also have a usage goal, and personally I have put in a usage goal of 20, so that is my threshold if I want to roll something out after a certain amount of uses rather than hitting pan. And I mainly have that for the reason of, you know, those shadows that take forever, those shadows that are brand new, you know, mattes that are difficult to a formula, stuff like that. But that is the main rules. I am also using Laney's prompt, so I will have makeup with Laney linked down below as well, because I'm using again her prompt list to choose my eyeshadows. So I'm gonna jump into the video and show you the 4 eyeshadows that I've been working on. But before I do that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So I am starting off with shadow number 1, which has been in for 3 months now. I always start with the one that's been in the longest and move down the list. So we are starting off with this eyeshadow right here, which comes from Shine by SD, and I rolled this one in for a shadow starting with Q. When I rolled this one in, it was actually very brand new to my collection. It was one of my most newest eyeshadows in my collection, but it's the shade Quantum. So I don't have too many eyeshadows in my collection starting with Q, but I wanted to play around with this one, and I also thought it was a perfect one for the prompt because again I have a very limited amount of shadows starting with Q. So you can see what it's been looking like. It is a really interesting shadow because it's both multi-chrome. It goes from like a green to blue to pink to a kind of orangey gold at a very harsh angle, and on top of that is also a holographic shade. So it's a very interesting shade, a very unique shade to my collection, and this is what this one looks like today. So you might be able to see that there is a decent dip in the shadow. I haven't hit pan on it yet, however I have hit my 20 uses on this shadow, which is very exciting. I was sitting at 8 uses last month, so I have to use it 12 additional times this past month, but I have completed that and it will be rolling out. So yes, that is the shadow right there. So it does have like that kind of green shift. It has a bit of a grayish blue kind of base to it, and I think that's like the holographic nature of it. But on top of that, it has like a green to pink shift. Again, I don't know if you can pick up the shift at all, but it's a very stunning shade, and it's also a holographic shade. So looking at my finger there, you might be able to see a little bit more of that holographicness, and also like that kind of green shift, but it's a really, really stunning shadow. I do, like I said, have a good dip in this shade now, but of course no pan yet, and I think I'm still quite far away from pan. I might be like halfway to pan, so I'm glad that I had that 20 use threshold, because I think it would have been in for a long time if I was continuing working on it until pan. And with this shadow, like I said, I had 12 uses left to go, but I did talk about it last month, but I really wanted to have this one out this month because I tried to rotate things out after 3 months max, just to keep this project rolling and not keeping shadows in for too long. So I really honed in on this one and I used it quite a lot. I did actually use this one on my nails, and I'm wearing it on my nails still. So I'm wearing this one just over a really sheer pink shade, and I really love it as a nail polish. I actually need to repaint my nails, they're starting to chip a little bit, but I wanted to keep it on for this video so you can see what it looks like as a nail polish. So 5 out of those 12 uses came from this manicure, but the remaining 7 uses I did use on my eyes, and I did have the last use today. I'm wearing it on the very center of my lid, kind of merging the blue shimmer into like the yellow shimmer. So yeah, that is rolling out, and it is the first shade kind of ticked off. The second shade that I've been working on comes from a palette. It comes from this palette right here, which is the Elva palette, and I rolled in the prompt out the corner shadow, which I decided to go with this shade right here called Peony. So this has been in for 2 months now, so not quite as long as the Shine by SD shade, but I still have been working on it for a couple of months. So it's a really beautiful kind of plummy type of shade. It's like a, yeah, it's like a brown with a pink undertone. It's a really, really like useful shade, and even though it is an out the corner shade, it is not too deep for me. It's one that I really have been enjoying because I haven't been wanting to go for super dark looks, and this one has been really, really useful because of that reason. So this is what it looked like last month. I had reached for it 6 times at that point in the project, so you know, a decent amount, but still had a long way to go. I either obviously have to hit pan on it or use it 20 times, and since then I have reached for it 3 additional times, and this is where it's sitting today. So not too much more use. I have 9 uses on it total right now, and I can definitely see a dip, but these pans are super, super deep. I will show you in a second with one of the other shades in here that I hit pan on, but yeah, they are very deep, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit pan on it within the next 11 uses or if I'm going to roll it out at 20 uses as well. So yeah, that is the shadow. It's the deepest shade in the palette, but you can see that there is a little bit of a dip, hopefully. But looking at this shadow right here, this is the one that I've hit pan on before. I don't know if you can see just how deep these pans are. They are very, very deep. These round pans from Oden's Eye are very deep. I feel like the new pans aren't as deep, but this format definitely was very deep. So I know I have a long way to go with this one, but I might hit pan it within those 11 uses, especially because it is an out corner shade, because I use a little bit more of a smaller brush, which means that I can get more of a kind of distinct dip, and sometimes I think that's easier to pan on the shade. But that is the shadow right there. I do really love it. I love the undertone. I think again it's a beautiful, beautiful tone for me. I love these kind of pinkier undertone shadows, and it's like the perfect mix between a pink and a brown, so I have really been enjoying it, and of course this one is staying in the project. So the last 2 shades in this project were both rolled in last month, so I've only been working on them for 1 month, and the first prompt that I rolled was an everyday shadow, and I decided to go with this shadow right here, which comes from the Pastel Roses, and it's the shade Little Star. So this is a really sparkly, very pretty kind of topper shade that can also be kind of built up, and it has a bit of a shift to it. I would say it goes from like a yellowy pink to a green and like a turquoise at a harsh angle. So it is a multichrome, but it's more of a subtle multichrome, and I rolled this in again for kind of everyday shadow just because I feel like it's very versatile for multichrome. It can be used again as a topper on top of other shades. It can be used as an in the corner highlight, and even though it's not quite an iridescent, it is very versatile in that sense. So that's kind of why I decided to roll this in for that prompt. And this is what the shadow looks like now. I have reached for it 7 times, including today. I've been wearing it on my inner corners, which you can see in a second, but it's again been a very versatile shade, so I'm happy with those 7 uses. Unfortunately though, there's not much of a dip of those 7 uses, but again, you don't need very much of this one because it is so impactful, especially if I'm using it as a topper. I kind of use like just the smallest amount on top of other looks. So yeah, that is the shadow, and again, not a massive dip or anything after 7 uses, but you can definitely see that it's been used, and that is the swatch of it as well. So you can see that kind of yellowy shift straight on, and it does go into like a bit more of a turquoise. Like if I look at it with the light coming in from this angle, I can definitely see that kind of more actually of a blue rather than a turquoise. I think there's a little bit of turquoise between the gold and green kind of into the blue, but it goes into blue, but a very like neutral type of blue, if that makes sense. So it's a very beautiful shade, and again, it is that kind of everyday type of formula where again it can be built up or it can be used just topped on top of other looks. So I have been enjoying it loads, and again, I am wearing it today on my inner corners. So that is one way that I've been reaching for it in the past month, but I have also reached for it quite a lot on top of other shades. So again, that is staying in. We do still have 13 more uses to go, or pan of course, but we'll see again if I'm able to pan on it. Probably not, because it's not moved much with those 7 uses. I thought it would have more of a dip by now, but every shadow is individual. Every shadow moves in different ways, so again, we'll see how it goes. Maybe I will start getting more of a dip, and maybe I'll keep it in. We'll see. If I do have a really good dip at 20 uses, this is the type of shadow that I think I might be able to keep in, just because it is again an everyday shade. So the last shadow that we have to talk about, like I said, also rolled in last month, and that comes from a palette, and that is this palette right here, which is the Club Nebula palette. So I rolled a prompt, something you want to pan, and that should be a really easy prompt, but I feel like it was very difficult picking something, because you can pick anything in collection that you want to pan, So I always struggle with that prompt because it's like almost too much freedom. But I decided to go with this shade right here called You're My Only Hope, which is a beautiful kind of light purplish type of shade. And the reason why I rolled this one in for something you want to pan is because I already had a massive dip on it, and I thought it would be something easier to pan on. So even though it is a bit more of a kind of everyday shadow, it's not a multi-chrome or anything, and it's a bit more of a traditional shimmer. It's still very impactful for a traditional shimmer, but it's more of a traditional shimmer compared to the other two that I have in the project. I really have been enjoying working on it, and I mainly reach for it as an inner corner highlight or like as a brightening up shade on the inner third of my lid. And I have reached for it 6 additional times this past month, and this is where it's sitting today. So as you can see, I was able to pan on this one, which is very exciting. I was pretty sure that was going to happen. It actually took slightly longer than I thought, especially considering I used it so much as an inner corner highlight, because I used a very kind of pointy brush when I used it on my inner corners, so I expected it to go faster. But either way, I'm very, very happy with that pan, and we have another rollout in this project. So yeah, that is this palette right here. You can see the pan right there. It is my 6th pan in this palette. I have pan on this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So all the shimmer shades now have pan in this palette. I still haven't pan on any of the mattes, but I'm happy to see a lot of use on this palette, and it is really, really stunning. So yeah, that is that shadow, and again, I can expect this one to pan. That is why I rolled this one in last month, and that is why I chose it for something you want to pan. But either way, I really enjoyed working on it, and of course, again, we will be replacing this one shortly. So that is my old color story. You can see right there, that is this You're My Only Hope shade that I just talked about from the Kaleidos palette. And out of these, the top and the bottom shade will be rolling out, and these 2 shades will be staying in. I didn't mention earlier with my rules, but I do have one rules when it comes to which shadows I'm working on, and that is that I have to work on at least 1 matte. So because I already have this matte staying in, I can roll literally anything that I want for the remaining shadows. I can roll just matte if I want. Actually, maybe I want to have at least 1 shimmer too, but I can roll matte, I can roll shimmers, whatever I want. But let me go ahead and swatch out those 2 shades staying in on this hand, and then we're going to go ahead and randomize my prompts. So yeah, those are the 2 shades staying in, and I will pull up my Pretty Random app, or no, what's it called? Tiny Decisions app. I do have my prompts in that app. So we're going to pull up my Pan Those Eyeshadows, and we have the wheel right here. The blacked out prompts are the ones that I've already worked on, so we're going to go ahead and pick the first out of 2 prompts that I will be working on. So we have a shadow you want to pan. Okay, we're rolling that again. That is fine. So why I'm rolling, the same prompt again is because some of these prompts are in more than once, but that's fine. I'm going to see what I want to pan. Like I said, it's always difficult for me to pick when it comes to that, but I'm sure I can find something. And then the second prompt we're going to roll in is going to be Red Shadow Matte. Okay, that's going to be difficult. So let me go ahead and have a look and see what I want to roll in. We need a red matte and then something I want to pan. So let me pick those out, and I will be right back. So I'm back, and I have picked out my shadows, and this is my color story. Yeah, it's very unique for me. I picked something very different for something you want to pan. It's a bit of a deeper shade, which is again something that I don't normally go for, especially in summer, but I felt like this shadow, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that is my old color story, and this is my new one. Let me talk you through the 2 new roll-ins. So for something you want to pan, I just looked through my palettes and thought, which palette do I want to work on a little bit more? And the palette that stuck out to me is the Rose Quartz palette from Huda Beauty. I absolutely love this palette, and I looked through the palette to see what I wanted to roll in. And I mean, in hindsight, I feel like maybe this one would have been good, or this one, but the shade that I decided to go with is actually this shade right here called Cosmic Love. It's like a beautiful kind of purpley pink shade. It's a bit of a marble shade, but all together it comes out as like that kind of bluish purple shade. It has like a blue to pink shift, so when I look at it, it looks like pink, almost going into like a goldeny shade. But yeah, it has that kind of pink to blue shift. So I'm excited to work on that one, and I'm hoping that it's not going to take too long to hit pan on, but I do think I can hit pan on this one within 20 uses, which is another reason why I'm rolling it in for something that I want to pan. But yeah, it's not really a summer shade for me normally, but I think it's going to work really nicely with some other shades that I'm panning. And it's going to go nice with this shade. It's also going to go nice with a lot of shades from my Pan That palette, both my BYOP and my Soft Glam palette. So that is the shade that I'm going to roll in for something you want to pan. And then for red shadow matte, I decided to go with this one right here, which is definitely a red matte. And that comes from my Red Dragon palette. This is a palette that I have been trying to show some more love over the past couple of years, just because it was very untouched in my collection, but it's now looking a little bit more loved. So I do have a few pans in here already. I have pans on 2 mattes and 3 shimmers. So the pans that I have are this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And the shade I'm rolling in is of course the red matte in the palette right here called Dragon. So I thought that one would be a fun shade. I can do some, it's a bit more of a warm tone red, so I can do a bit more of kind of sunset looks with it. I am trying to pan a few more kind of yellowy shades. I have them in my crease today. They're not in like a project, but they're focus shades in my year of usage project pan. So I think this red will work nicely with those, but it's definitely going to be a bit more of a challenge. We'll see how it goes with this shadow specifically. It's not going to be the easiest to incorporate, but either way, I need to roll something red matte in, and I wanted to go for something like that's very, very red. I didn't want to like do a cop out and pick something like a reddish brown or anything, because I already have this one which could technically go under reddish brown, but I wanted to go for something a bit more true red. So that is going to be my new color story. We'll see how it goes in the next month. I do think I will try to have this one out next month, just because it has been in for 2 months already. So next month will be its 3rd update. And what did I say? I have 11 more uses to go on that one, I think. So it will be like a focus. It's definitely going to be one that I'm trying to incorporate as many looks as I can. And if I do that, maybe I can hit pan on this shade. It depends on how long it takes. Honestly, I don't know. And then with the other two, we're just going to have to see how I get on. But that is going to be it for my Pan Those Eyeshadows update today. I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check out Alexi down below again, even though she doesn't post anymore. She has some amazing videos in this series on her channel if you want to go back and binge. I go back every couple of months or so and just binge her series because I love it so much, and I feel like she used to do like such creative looks, and it was just such a fun project to follow along. So make sure to check her out, as well as Laney, which again I don't think she's posting at the moment, but she has some loads of series. I loved her channel too whenever she posted. I still love her channel. She does, again, Pan Those Eyeshadows. She did a lot of project pans, also a lot of indie shadow content, which I absolutely adore. I love indie shadows. So yeah, make sure to check them both out. And otherwise, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!